I'll admit, as an Empire enjoyer, I really haven't used Ulrika all that much as them. Their own Empire wizards are just so cheap and cost-effective, I almost always tend to roll with them, but Ulrika is certainly an interesting choice, not only because Lord of Shadows is, I think, a little bit underrated these days, perhaps. People kind of have stopped using it for the most part. I still see it occasionally, but certainly Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma, if spammed, can certainly be very cost-effective, not to mention, of course, she's a pretty decent duelist in her own right. Not the most armor in the world, but certainly this Skjallandir's Fall can give her Blinded, which is one of the most powerful effects. Definitely the best contact effect by far in the entire game. Of course, this Horseback Prodigy, which I definitely forgot exists, also gives her a little bit of extra speed, strider, missile damage while she's above 75% HP. For the rest of this build from Lazarus here, we've got Volkmar, the Grim, Spearmen, and Halberdiers, with some swordsmen in the front line. Yeah, all different state troops mixed. We've got some Free Company militia in the back there, grenade launcher outriders, Sterling's Revenge, and some Empire Knights. Fairly straightforward. Manfred von Karstein opposes them in the air, so we've got some, good vampire versus bad vampire here. Absolutely love it. Dire Pack and some Dire Wolves, lots of zombies up front, some Blood Knights, and 3 Grave Guard in the back with great weapons. Plus a White King. Interesting choice. The great weapons are decent. I don't know about them specifically in this matchup. I think it's probably better to just take the shields and take like some corpse cart support and whatnot, but we'll see how they end up doing here. Certainly they can carve through any Empire infantry, no problem. Great swords may be actually a little bit of a problem, but yeah, unsupported. I don't know, actually. I'd have to actually test it out and see. So my gut tells me maybe great swords just barely win, but it's also possible they lose on leadership and then the Graveguard opens crumble, so they basically just trade even. I actually haven't checked in quite some time, but anyway. Ulrika's going to open things up a little bit with her bow, start kind of blinking away at Manfred, and she does have massively long range at 180. I mean, I say massively long, yeah, it is pretty good amount of range for sure, so she can kind of get out here, kind of blink away at him, charge around, and countercharge units to the back line, try her best to protect these Free Company militia in the back. I mean, one of the reasons you bring Free Company is they don't need as much protection, but grenade launchers certainly do need protection, and here they come a little bit too far forward, get some cheeky grenades off. They're going to eat a charge from Manfred and the Hounds, and I believe we're about to see a Fate of Butte on them, if I'm not mistaken, which, tactically I totally understand, even if from a value perspective it's not super great value, but still. Free Company opening up, Sterling's Revenge moving forward. He's got to be very careful of their armor-piercing missiles. They are obviously quite painful. We see already, though, that Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma and Skjallandir's Fall being used. That's going to reduce these Dire Pack stats to basically 0, right? That's just such a powerful effect, not to mention, of course, the speed debuffs stacking from Melkoth's, and that basically negating whatever speed the Dire Pack had, and despite the fact they're able to get through and kind of clean up those Outriders, they still are having a real rough time. Meanwhile, in the front line, Volkmar unleashing banishments on the foul undead, juicing up his Empire state troops with his buffs and whatnot. Of course, Volkmar, in eons past, was the powerhouse of the Empire. You see him less often these days, but certainly can be quite strong, especially when buffing up other units and sort of supporting a frontline engagement like this. So even though those spearmen definitely paid a severe price, I mean, they basically traded out with some Graveguard great weapons because of his support. So yeah, definitely worth it. Those Blood Knights also paying a severe price as they try and overrun into the back line. I mean, they're just cleaning up Free Company militia, which is another great reason why you bring them. They're kind of nice bait backline units if your opponent feels the need to shut down your skirmishers. They'll do okay for themselves fighting in melee in comparison to something like handgunners, and then have plenty of supporting elements here in the back line between Ulrika and the Empire Knights countercharging in. They're able to mostly shut down and clean up these Blood Knights, but the Empires are always dangerous as long as they still got their Lord in the field and at least 1 or 2 power units left. These Blood Knights coming in just crushing an Empire Knight here. Volkmar and Ulrika together sense an opportunity to try and go after Manfred, but it looks like he's going to be able to pull away there. Yeah, Sterling's Revenge taking some significant damage, I think, from like breath attacks and so forth. So the vampires definitely not going quietly into that good night. Definitely not. They were born in the night, of course. Bred in it. They're big friends with the knights. So anyway, all that aside to say, Blood Knights moving through once more. Manfred also supporting, and this unit of Empire Knights looking to be in pretty significant trouble, but Ulrika once again finds room to draw her bow, stash her daggers, and just activate Scalionder's Fall. Yeah, that's a little animation for that there, so... Ooh, will she get a couple of swipes? Yep, and even just one swipe, Fells a Blood Knight, is enough to debuff and blind the entire unit. You're going to get Invocation of Nehek there. But man, that melee debuff is just so strong, down to 1919 on melee attack and defense. Little Melkoth Mystifying Miasma as well to provide a little bit of damage, and blinded lasts just long enough for the Empire Knights to actually get in, get a charge, and promptly get killed, but still be able to do some decent damage, all things considered. Again, that Melkoth also, just that alone, spamming it on Blood Knights will probably pay for Ulrika. She's well on her way to doing so, plus the fire into Manfred, little banishment. The front line again from Volkmar on this far side, while he supports, I guess he's really on the far side, that's the near side, but anyway. Prepositions aside, another bombardment here, holy fire raining from the sky. Oh man, Volkmar's so cool. Even if you don't like the lore of the Empire or Volkmar, that's fine. You gotta admit, it's freaking awesome in battle. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, yeah, Ulrika standing firm in the backline, both her and Volkmar pretty much untouched, so looking pretty good. White King and Manfred skulking out in the distance, just absolutely seething. Graveguard is able to do some work, but I doubt they were actually able to pay for themselves. Yeah, only 389 here, 353 here, so... It's rough. It's one unit of Blood Knights, though. Does get a nice clean up on these Empire Knights. Other Blood Knight unit moving through. So this is nice. If the Vampires can kind of rally their forces together, get some Invocation of Nehek, and start to use these Blood Knights in... Oh, no. No. What are you doing? What are you doing, Manfred? Manfred charges in to try and finish off some of these units, which I understand to a degree. He's able to terrify them. After cleaning up those Empire Knights, the Blood Knights then move through. Just a single cast Invocation of Nehek, though, is going to heal quite a bit, but a Melkoth Mystifying Miasma is a great response. I'd have to actually map out the damage specifically of what this does, but yeah, let's see. 14 seconds, 125 damage versus the heal is like a percentage base, so I'd actually have to like sit down and calculate it, but something tells me it's pretty close to the same. 7 Winds of Magic for Invocation of Nehek, and 6 for Melkoth Mystifying Miasma. So even if Melkoth does slightly less damage, that's actually still, Winds of Magic-wise, a straight-across trade, pretty much. Might be slightly one way or the other. Maybe one of you nerds out there can calculate it and leave it down in the comments below. I guess I could also. To be honest, I'm on a PC that has a calculator after all, but alas, I'm busy casting right now. Maybe I'll do that and leave it in the comments myself. Who knows? Probably not, but anyway. As Manfred tries to get away, Chad Volkmar's chariot is too much for him. Gets a few swings of its holy mace. It's enough to send Manfred into crumbling. He's also being blinded by the brilliance of Ulrika. And I have to say, very happy with her performance, particularly against vampire counts. I think, you know, and again, I don't know the lore very well, guys. So you can 100% just call me an idiot in the comments if this is completely wrong, but... first of all, Volkmar probably would never even tolerate someone like Ulrika, like in his presence, but if he did, I think a good way to sort of redeem herself in his eyes would be to help kill literal Manfred von Karstein in battle. Like, I don't know. might help Volkmar see her as less suspicious at the very least. She certainly did a lot of work in this battle. 11,000 total damage dealt, 2,500 damage value between the Melkoth, the debuffs, and getting real damage on Manfred. Definitely did a great job of supporting here. Even outvaluing Volkmar himself, even if he did more raw damage, just absolutely cleaning up hordes of zombie chaff, as he does in this matchup. The rest of the Empire build's pretty interesting. I mean, these Empire Knights certainly do their job of blocking, even if they die horribly. Sirloin's Revenge gets some really nice value, as do the Halberds. And, oh yeah, these Free Company as well, all of which pay for themselves. Some of them double their value, more than double their value. Absolutely fantastic. Granted, it's against vampire counts. You're going to have some inflated values overall due to healing. Still, for the vampire counts, really, Blood Knights and Manfred were the only kind of bright spots. Even still, Manfred, given how expensive he is, probably didn't pay for himself. So, given my anti-vampire count bias, hard to feel too bad for them, but we'll see certainly if they're able to get anything in the future. They definitely have plenty of stuff available for a possible DLC. We know certainly the Empire is getting a DLC very soon, and I can't wait to see what they do get in Thrones of Delay. But until then, that's all, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. See you next time.